It's the Mike Delivers podcast, and I'm excited to be speaking with Kevin Ha. He is the Financial Panther. You can find him online, financialpanther.com. I had a blast looking at his website, looking at his information on Twitter, and I get all like geeked out when I see that there's other delivery drivers out there, and I also get geeked out when I see there's other delivery drivers out there, and they're really helping to explain what exactly this Uber Eats is, what this side hustle is. So, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the Mike Delivers podcast. Looking forward to chatting today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
So first off, let's backtrack. You went to law school, and I see all over your website, financialpanther.com, you were like $88,000 in debt with student loans. I just paid off my student loan from Syracuse University, which took like 16 years. So I wish I ran into your blog like 5 years ago. I did not. It's okay. I'm happy the loan is over. But explain to me a little bit about your background and what happened with you going to law school, finishing law school, and now directing some of your attention with the financialpanther.com and how you're helping people with debt and gig economies, and a little bit on your background.
Yeah. So, well, first off, congrats on paying off your student loans.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So my background was I graduated college in 2009, and this was right in the middle of the financial crisis. And So, of course, no job, moved back home with my parents. I was a econ and history major. So that major is like, well, what am I going to do? So I was like, I'll just go take the LSAT and go to law school, and just kind of stumbled my way in, which is like a pretty common thing for a lot of lawyers, I think, just stumbling into law school. So I did that, did really well in law school, and started out, got a big got a job in what's called Big Law, which is like one of the larger law firms. And so along the way, I picked up $87,000 worth of student loans. And my goal, as soon as I started working, my first job was I got to pay these off as fast as I can. So, I kind of kept living like a student, saved all the money I was making, and put it all into student loans, paid off in 2.5 years.
Wow.
Which was great, because once I did that, I had a lot more flexibility in what I needed to make and what I needed to do.
Sure.
So then I transitioned into government work, thinking that would be more like make me feel better, and maybe that I would have a better work-life balance.
Sure.
Turned out I did not get that at all. It was just as much work. It was real stressful, and I took a $50,000 pay cut to do that.
Wow.
So I was not happy with that. I did a year in government, and then I took a job in like a nonprofit, trying my hand out of that. And once again, it was like, didn't really fit me that well, I guess. I took another pay cut along the way also. So along the way here after law school, once I pay off my student loans, I'm going the wrong way in my income. Trying to find like what was making me happy, I guess, with work.
Right.
So during that time, I had also started up this blog, financialpanther.com, and it was a financial independence, like side hustling blog. The reason it come about was because I had done this thing. I'd paid off my student loans, and then while I was working in a big law firm job, I'd also started doing food deliveries on my bike. And the reason I did that was I really enjoyed biking, and this was like right when the food delivery game had just kind of started. This was 2015. So it was like pretty novel back then. Like I remember the first time I ordered like food to get delivered to me, it was like mind blown, right? Now it's like completely normal. So and that was only 5 years ago. That was like a weird thing. But yes, I was like I would work at my law firm all day, and then on my way home, I would like turn on these food delivery apps. It was Postmates. It was the first one that started up here in Minneapolis, which is where I'm located. And I would wait for an order that was like going back towards my house. Right. So I would bike my way home basically. And I was a bike commuter. I'd bike to work and bike home. And so my idea there was like, oh, I'm like essentially getting paid to like bike home.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And this would be funny because I'd be like biking in like my work clothes. So it'd be like a dress shirt, tie. And I'm like rolling up to someone, like handing them food in like my work lawyer outfit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, I just kept doing that. I was really enjoying myself. It was like a lot of people kind of like as a side hustle, you see people people were doing like ride share and stuff. And it was like, for me, it was like, well, if I'm spending 8 hours, 10 hours a day sitting at a desk, the last thing I want to do is now sit in a car for
Makes sense. Right.
another hour or two.
Take
I'd
the
rather
bike.
like go bike. I'm getting exercise. I'm like enjoying the outdoors. It's like de-stressing me. And that was like really what was more important for me was that it was like, I felt like it was like an outlet for me to like kind of de-stress, getting exercise and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
I find that so fascinating that you say that, and I'll just interject this real quick. Like,
yeah.
I always tell people, and I've mentioned it on this podcast a lot. I on Sunday get like the Sunday anxiety, the Sunday scaries. So I found that doing Uber Eats deliveries on Sundays like really has helped that, and just it's a de-stressor. And it takes your mind off stuff going on in your life, and you start thinking about just the importance of making sure you deliver this food item to this person's house. And all of a sudden your brain, which might be zooing over a million things going on in your life, and you don't forgetting about what you need to take care of, but you just start like relaxing. It's weird. So I totally can get that and see that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it kind of like turns your life into a game, like
Mm-hmm.
the treasure hunt. Like you're kind of like, here's a mission. You got to go do this thing and get
Right.
it done. And I don't know. I just love doing that. And so, people ask me, like, I do a lot of gig stuff. And
Right.
people ask me, what's your favorite one? I'm always like, it's the food delivery ones. Like,
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
so let me ask you this, because I've seen on Twitter you put out like, and this fascinates me because I just do Uber Eats. I just do the one. But correct me if I'm wrong. I saw like you'll do 4 apps on at the same time and then also have 4 items from these places. Are you doing that? How is that possible? And how are you keeping track of everything?
Yeah. And so this is the big thing. Right. So, there's the big 4 delivery companies, which are in most cities: Postmates, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub.
Right.
And all of these, at least in most cities, they let you use your bike or a scooter or whatever. You don't have to use a car necessarily. And the key thing about this is that by doing multiples, like all at once, often I'm able to get orders from like one restaurant or one area all going to the same direction. And so this is like a big one, is like an example. I'll go to like a Chipotle and pick up like a DoorDash, and like on the way there or something, I'll get like a Grubhub, or a
Right.
Uber Eats from that same Chipotle going in the exact same direction.
Wow.
And so it takes a lot of like practice to understand how to do it. But
Yeah.
when you can do that, you're basically turning what might have been, let's say, it could have been a $5 or $6 delivery. But
Right.
now if you've got 3 of them, you now turn that into like an $18 delivery,
Right.
in
Right.
one run without having to do anything different.
Right.
And so that is really big. And since I'm on a bike, especially, I do it on a bike or electric bike or electric scooter.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to worry about parking. I'm just like pulling up to things, and
Right.
my delivery zones are much more tight. I reject everything that's going too far, and I reject things that obviously aren't going the directions I want them to go.
Sure.
But I feel like on a bike, I'm able to just get up and like get off the bike quickly, get back in the restaurant, get out. I'm like able to move around much faster in a city than I could if I was using like any other type of vehicle.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. Now, I've done it for a year plus. I'm just in a car, and actually doing some of these interviews has helped me a lot in realizing to be a little more particular with the orders I get. Because in the past, I'd just be like, "Oh, there it is! Yeah, I'm so excited!" You hear the noise, you just get excited. Then you think about it, and you go, could I have done a better job in taking that order that took me out to this many places in that area? And I was like, it's kind of a dumb move. Would you say then, and this is being serious here, like doing this for 5 years on the bike, you've now kind of like cracked the code in what the best order is. And if I got this restaurant with that, and you can like kind of see the puzzle pieces coming together down the line to make good orders.
Yeah. So, so my area, so I live in like near a large university, right? And so it's like, it's all dense students, and it's like a downtown area. Everything is really close. People are ordering deliveries like 3 blocks, 5 blocks, right? And they're all from the same restaurants. Like I go to the same like 10 restaurants basically all the time. They know who I am. They see me all the time.
Right.
And which is good, because then they help you faster when they know who you are.
Totally. No, it's a great point.
So that is helpful because I know all the neighborhoods very well. But also, I've gotten to the point now where like there's like a thing when you're doing deliveries where there's kind of like a fear that like if I reject this one, maybe I won't get anything again, right? Like, you know, like maybe like you can feel like maybe it's slow, and so I need to take this one because otherwise there just won't be anything left. And I find that like if you're doing deliveries during like a prime time, you know, a lunch, a dinner, there are gonna be deliveries. Like there will be. And so it's getting over that little fear there that like that or that like little scarcity mindset that like this order might be the only order I get, and so I better take it. Because I find, you know, I'll get an order and I'll be like, ooh, this order is just a little bit not where I want to go, but I'll just reject it, right? And then of course what happens as soon as I reject it, I'll get another order that's like exactly what I need, you know?
Right.
And so that's the important thing is understanding that there's always more orders there. There's so many people in every city. They're all ordering food, especially right now.
Right now, sure.
You know? And so if people are ordering food, you can just wait for another one because someone else is going to take that order that you rejected.
Exactly. What's the timing like then when you're putting 4 orders, like for example, at one time? Like how fast? All right, let's say order A comes in for Uber Eats and then to your 4th order. How fast is that happening where you're getting 4 orders in that quick of time, like the rapid pace of it?
Yeah. So my market, it's like nonstop during prime times. So I can get, if I've been keeping track of my numbers a little better. Like this month, I actually like kept track everything just to see. And, you know, I was averaging 5 to 6 orders an hour.
Wow.
Which is like, yeah, you think like, whoa, how's that possible? Right?
But I guess with the different apps,
when you have all these apps and if you get one order from each of them, you know, it only takes you 1 order per app per hour, basically. And so they kind of just come enough that like I'm not ever really sitting around. And, you know, it helps that this is not like my full-time thing. This is a side hustle, which it is for a lot of us. And so kind of the benefit of us doing this as a side hustle for a lot of us is that we can work during hours that, you know, are busier and make more sense. So we're not like wasting our time. But yeah, so for me, it's just like, I just get a lot of orders and I just kind of reject them and kind of wait for the ones that make sense. They're all going wherever I need to go. So if I need to go east, I'm waiting for orders coming here, all going that same direction.
How do you keep it organized? Like that would freak me out and get nervous where I have 4 items from 3 restaurants and then maybe from another restaurant that was next door that you make sure you don't go to Joe's house and give him what was Samantha's food. How do you keep that in track?
Right. That is just, you got to just practice and keep it in your head. Cause I've done that where I like put the wrong order down, you know, cause now we're on contact list. So you put the order down and, you know, you send them a message and then they come down. And I had one where I put the order down and I started biking away and I went, oh, wait a minute. And I had to go back and the guy had just come out and I was like, oh, wait, hang on. I put the wrong one down for you.
Yeah.
So in this one, I mean, there's no secret there. You just got to kind of keep yourself organized in your head. And obviously it's going to take practice because, you know, the newer you are, the harder it is. But, you know, I've been multi-apping like this for so long that I'm kind of naturally able to keep track of things in my head.
That's remarkable. See, that to me is the coolest part, that you're keeping track of that. Cause I know if I'll ever get like 2 orders and I'll like give myself some way to remember, like, you know, John had the burrito on the left, you know, or like Todd picked up from this restaurant, you know, Indian food, Todd, Indian food on the right. Like I make sure like, and I'll say it in the car over and over again, just because of the fear of that. I'm like so paranoid.
You definitely got to also look at the receipt, you know.
Yes, that helps too, of course.
That'll help you do it. And then you've got to really know your neighborhoods well because, like, you know, I've lived here for 10 years. I know my zone real well. And so I can kind of think, like, which one am I going to first, you know? That
sure,
kind of thing.
Exactly.
I know how to do it.
How about the most amount of money you've made in a day? Was there a day where you did more than like 2 or 3 hours and you just went balls to the wall, all out, all the apps open? Let's just see what kind of money I can make. Let's see how I can do.
Right. And no, I have not done that. So, yeah. And that's a thing that I have not really done is spend like a full 8 hours doing deliveries. Cause I know if I know for a fact, if I did 8 hours doing deliveries, my hourly would go down because of course you're not getting a lot of deliveries between like, you know, 1:30 or 2 o'clock and like 5 o'clock. Right. And, so for me, like the most I've made probably is like 250 or something in a day, but that's only working, I think like 4 hours or something, like not really a crazy amount,
Right.
4 or 5 hours at the most. I've rarely done that, gone over I rarely go over like 3 hours in a day at most. Usually I just do an hour and a half or an hour over lunch and an hour and a half or an hour during dinner. I did back in the day. This was before like all the delivery apps came here, like back when only Postmates existed here.
Yeah.
When I was switching jobs, I would always have like a stretch where I'd be like a week off, between jobs. Like, so I left my first job to start my new job. I had a week off. So I was like, oh, I'm going to take a day and just like, this was in 2016. So the only app here was Postmates. And I was like, I'm going to take a day to do this. And I didn't make very much because I only did 16 deliveries over the course of like a whole day.
Right.
And nowadays I can do that many deliveries in yesterday I did 16 deliveries in an hour and 40 minutes. So
that almost,
which is crazy. That's out of the ordinary to get that many deliveries. I was getting a lot of stacks and just like the orders were really short.
See that's insane. I mean, obviously you have all the different apps open, so you're not just doing that with like Uber Eats doing 16 in that amount of time.
There's no way.
Which might be like physically impossible. Is there a restaurant you've noticed in your area that you pick up from the most and is the number one spot that people are ordering from?
That's definitely probably Chipotle.
Chipotle again, yeah.
Yeah, Chipotle. People order Chipotle all the time and all the apps have it. There's another one. There's a Chinese place in my neighborhood that is really popular, I find. So I'd say those two. And then, people order McDonald's and stuff. It's all the fast food places.
I've noticed, and you tell me what you think. Anytime I get McDonald's, it's always the closest like delivery from my experience. It's like 0.7 miles, 0.6 miles. McDonald's, like always so close.
Right. And so that's one of the things about like any of these like chain restaurants, because since there's different locations, if you're getting it from a chain restaurant, it will be within a mile or two. I mean, like a McDonald's, there's a McDonald's, everyone lives within like 2 miles of McDonald's, right? So you're not going to order McDonald's from like the one that's
a good point.
Away. You order the one down the street from you. So I think that's true. I mean, I remember back in the day, and I don't know if you were doing these apps then, but they used to not show you like where these things are going, which was super annoying when they did that. Like, like Uber Eats used to do that. And so then you would like look at it and be like, oh, where's it going? But if you got like a McDonald's order, you could probably guess that it was like within a mile, because no one's ordering McDonald's from far away. Yeah, no. So to your point, it used to be with the Uber Eats app, it would just say like you were going somewhere and it's 2.2 miles from your current location. You wouldn't know what the restaurant was, and you wouldn't know where you were taking that food to someone's house. Now on the Uber Eats app, it gives you an estimate of how much money you'll make, where you're going, and kind of an area that you'll be taking it to. And now looking back at it, I'm like, how the hell did I ever do those deliveries? You can't be as systematic. You can't have a plan. Was it difficult then? I assume it was more difficult than to get organized to do what the kind of pace that you did yet the other day with the 16 deliveries. Right. So before Uber Eats made this switch, I basically never did Uber Eats at all because I couldn't I couldn't risk it. I had no idea where it was going. Then I discovered, I found out that there's a way you could see where the order was going by essentially, I don't know if you want me to share this or not. It doesn't matter anymore, I guess, because now you can see where it's going, but you could turn it on airplane mode and basically swipe the delivery and it would show you where it was going. Wait. Time out. This is interesting. Okay. So so you're saying put your phone on airplane mode before the order comes in? So you'd get the order, you accept it, and then you would put it on airplane mode, then swipe to deliver. It's like you had picked it up. And you could do that from anywhere you were, right? And then it would show you where it's going. But because you were on airplane mode. Because you're in airplane mode, it hasn't actually sent anything out anywhere. Oh my God. Then you just had to open and close the app 3 or 4 times. I don't know why you had to do it so many times, but it reset it basically. And then you could turn the data back on, open it up, and it would just open the app up just like you had accepted it at the beginning. And then if it was one you want to do, you keep it. If it's one you don't want to do, you just cancel it and say it's too far away or something, That's
awesome. Did you figure that out by accident, or did you get a tip, or how did you have the intuition to do that?
Yeah, I found that online. Someone had mentioned it on like Reddit or something, and I was like, wait, what? And so when I learned this, I then started incorporating Uber Eats back into my like rotation, because then I could figure it out. It was still more of a pain because obviously I had to like stop and then like do it and see.
Yeah.
But so now I obviously don't have to do it because now they're telling you where it's going. But it can be at least helpful to at least
I don't know why. That. I love stuff like that where you're like trying to hack the system on this. I find it so fascinating, all of it, and I've seen the great work you're doing with financialpanther.com, and I don't want to say it's like hacking the system, but you've just found a way to be more efficient at what you're doing to help people that are going to your website, our Uber Eats drivers like myself that might be listening to this, just different ways that they can make more money faster, which is the name of the game here, because you're in the car and you want to, or you're on your bike, and that's the point of this, is you want to try to make some extra cash.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think that, if you can do it, I would definitely recommend signing up for some multiple apps. Like, I'm anxious. No reason not to.
I'm so nervous about it. I know I got to do it. And my wife keeps telling me to, because it'd just be interesting content for the podcast, even if I'm screwing up, like to talk about it. I'm so scared. I'm so dependent now on my Uber Eats. I'm like, I won't be able to figure this out. I don't know. I gotta get over my fear, Kevin. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. Obviously, we do this because we think it's fun, right?
Right.
And so, if it doesn't make it fun for you, of course, don't do it. For me, I find this super fun, especially multi-apping, because it like really challenges me. I gotta really think about it, right? Like how, like you said earlier about like fitting puzzle pieces together. That's what it kind of feels like. It's like a real life treasure hunt mission.
Sure.
Puzzle pieces. I'm just putting everything together.
No, that's cool. Is it ever like difficult to literally get all the food on a bike? Like, can you, like, how does that work? Because you're not in a car where you can place it in the back seat. Is that difficult?
Right. So yes, it depends on what it is. So obviously, drinks. I hate drinks.
Yeah, right. How do you do drinks? It sounds like hell.
Yeah. Okay. So fountain drinks, I can handle. My bag has like a holder for fountain drinks, and I find that with the cap on, it doesn't spill that badly.
Okay.
Coffees, disaster. I got to stop doing this. I had one maybe a few weeks ago where I picked up this like breakfast order from for someone. Actually, it wasn't breakfast. It was like 11 o'clock. I don't know why they were ordering all these. They ordered 5 coffees. Okay, 5. Already, I'm in trouble here. I should have canceled it, but I was like, it's not going that far. I think I can handle it. And I texted my buddy about this, and he's like, you are making a mistake, because he does deliveries too. He's like, don't do that. You're not going to make it.
So what happened? I need to know the conclusion now.
Yeah. So they gave me this, like, they gave me the holder, and I'm holding it on the bike, like just holding it and biking one-handed. And I put the other one like in my bag, like in the cup holder. But the problem with coffees, they filled these coffees up to the brim. Okay.
These are hot coffees?
They're hot coffees. And they're hot coffees with like, the Starbucks type lids. So it's like a hole on the top. It doesn't like keep it sealed.
Right.
And so I'm biking, and I just spilled all this coffee everywhere. So they're everywhere. And it was all in my bag too. It ruined a whole bunch of papers I had in my bag. And so I got to the thing. I basically had spilled the entire thing of coffee. Like every single, like I straight up dropped one of their coffees on the ground also.
Oh God.
And so I got that, just like, hey, you got to contact the company. I'm sorry. I like spilled all your coffees. They didn't seem too mad about it. I'm sure they get a refund. But just in case, I also like put my bike like away from the entrance so they wouldn't see that I biked up. I took my helmet off. So it kind of looked like maybe I had spilled the coffee like walking up the steps.
I like that.
But coffee's disaster. I've known this for like years. Don't take coffee orders, but sometimes I just like I'm stupid.
Well, it's funny you say that. I mean, first of all, I love the story. That's tremendous. But it's true. Like right before you get them, you get this adrenaline rush. Like I can do this. I can do this one. You get cocky because you're a pro. You've done this enough. You figured it out the best way to do this. You get a little cocky at times, and then you get 5 hot coffees and a bike. Disaster waiting to happen.
Disaster, yeah. So fountain soda's fine. Coffees, no good. Pizzas, hit or miss.
Right.
I can, if it's like most pizzas, I can hold them. Like, like I can hold like one pizza and bike it. And as long as it's not going too far, it's fine. It's if I get like 5 pizzas, then I can't do that. And I had that disaster as well. Probably a few weeks ago, I was on a scooter and I got 3 pizzas, and I got the order delivered to them, but like the boxes, because I like had to like put the pizza like on the handlebars, and so like the handlebars like squishing the box. So I'm sure when I got there, the like box was kind of like squished up. I don't know if the pizzas were messed up,
right?
But pizzas are hit or miss also.
Yeah, no, that's true. This stuff I probably don't think about as much being in a car. You just kind of throw it in there. And and you go from there. I mean, drinks are still a pain in the ass. Like nothing worse than drinks, in my opinion. It's just never. I'm always like too. Like, I get the food you can't get anywhere, but I'm like, just make a pot of coffee. Come on, don't be so lazy.
It's like a Coke, yeah, right. Like a Coke. You're like, why do you need to get like a fountain soda from like McDonald's or Five Guys or whatever? Just drink it yourself at home.
I know. I'm so with you on that. Well, Kevin, I've really enjoyed our conversation. We'll definitely have to continue this. I like hearing your stories. And visit your website, financialpanther.com. Great information there for side hustlers, business owners, and people that are looking to get out of debt. Some great information on how you can do that quickly and efficiently. And Kevin, before I let you go, and I mentioned this before we hopped on the podcast, congratulations to you. You have a 5-month-old. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep. Turning 5 in beginning of August. Next
boy
week.
Or girl?
Boy.
Okay, cool. Yep. So awesome. Congratulations. My wife's due, today is end of July 28th. My wife's due September 3rd. And this will be our first child. We're also having a boy. Is there any advice you can give me for a first-time parent, and anything I should know? And I guess something now, 5 months later, you're like, oh man, I wish I knew that before all this fun began.
Yeah. So it's been easier because of we're in the quarantine thing. Sleeping is like the thing, right? So this is what so I've seen so many of my friends have like kids who just don't sleep, right? And that is like something like I was big on. So I'm like a dork. I like read all these books on like sleeping and stuff. So one thing for a baby is routine. Like you got to have a routine with the sleep, like the sleep schedule. You got to really like keep that like hard, because I think that, and my son is starting to get this way. I can feel like he's starting to fight sleep more. Before he wasn't, but like we're kind of in a good position because like since we're not really traveling right now, we're all stuck at home.
Yeah, the
routine is pretty easy to keep. Like we
right.
can keep snapping routine. Obviously, it gets harder once you like are living life more because things are different. But I would say that is like routine for sleep. It will really help you because like sleep is a problem.
Right. Hey, yeah, I'm almost at this point. I used to get up for work at 3 a.m. every day for my job that I had previously. So I'm used to like,
obviously you're good.
It's very different, but I keep telling myself, I got it. I'll be all right. And I just know like 2 weeks into it, I'll be like, I was an idiot. I know that conversation with myself is coming, but those
first like 2 weeks or a month, it is tiring, man. Like you will not get a lot of sleep because they wake up every like 2 hours.
Right, craziness.
So
good
you
stuff.
You will be waking up a lot.
Good stuff. Well, Kevin Ha, financialpanther.com. And I'll have more information if you want to check out his website. Go to my show notes on the Mike Delivers podcast. Kevin, thank you for popping on. Thank you for sharing your stories and your information. We'll have to do this again. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks. This was a lot of fun.